Hey YouTube, this is Peter, aka the Mutton Chop Guy, the host of the podcast known as the Brothers Chronicles Sparks Reignited and Magic the Gathering. And today in this video, I'm kind of just going over a couple of these rough draft deck ideas that I've been kind of toying around with. And I kind of just want to show you about 2 or 3 of them today and kind of get your guys' thoughts and opinions about them. They're kind of been really good. I don't know if they have that much legs left in the format, but let me just go ahead and show you some of these ideas. So this one is a red-green ramp deck. Traditionally what I did was like 3 Ulamogs and World Breakers, but I was like, that seems pretty generic and it's something that somebody would do as a top-end finisher. But what I actually been tinkering around as a top-end finisher for a ramp deck has been Omnath, Locust of Rage. Mostly just because his landfall ability and making a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token is just really good. And if any of them die, you deal a lightning bolt damage to either a creature to get rid of them, or a player, or even a planeswalker. So it's been rather interesting how this has been going on. So basically, let me kind of show you some of the things I've been working with. As you can see, there's an energy thing going on here with Aether Hub and Attune with Aether. Servant of the Conduit. But what I've been using as ramp is that I would use Attune and Aether turn 1, and then turn 2 I'll try to use Ruin in their Wake. And if you actually look at this card, what it actually says on it, search your library for a basic land card and reveal it. You may put that land onto the battlefield, tap it if you control a land named Wastes. Otherwise, you put that card into your hand and then shuffle your library. So I'm only playing 2 copies of a Waste in this deck. Just as a way of efficiently either opening it with one or just getting one as easily. So I always try to go turn 1, either these 2 to go get it, and then play this turn 2. That way on turn 2 you have 3 lands. By turn 3 you have 4 lands, and that's where things kind of get a little crazy. Especially with a lot of the other cards that I've been playing in here. So the ramp package I've been using in this ramp deck, as I would call it, is you got your turn 1s right here, your turn 2, also your turn 2, and then your turn 3s. Weirding Wood, it's kind of like a rampant growth or of some sort. Allows a land to make 2 of one color. I usually throw this on a waste, so that way it helps with the color fixing. Natural Connection, because there's no real other efficient ramp spells out there right now. And this is at instant speed, so it doesn't really hurt when you play this at the end of your opponent's turn. And it also allows you to leave up mana for your removals, such as like Harness Lightning, to deal with anything. Tireless Tracker, since you're just dropping so many lands, you're just making a lot of clues. Granted, Weirding Wood also makes you more clues, so you actually can draw more cards. And then what I've been playing close to your top end is a singleton of Gear Pro Ore. Just been very interesting. I can play more lands. Granted, your opponent can also play more lands, but you're already so far ahead that that's not really going to matter if they get more lands out. They're not going to be able to catch up as easily. And then 3 copies of Mia and Den Wildborn. She hasn't really saw any play. She did see play during like Pro Tour Shadows over Innistrad, but never really saw that much success outward from there. Main reason why she's in here is because there is actually a very interesting grind value that she provides this deck, which is oddly enough very interesting. It's what really pushed me towards this direction is when I've been kind of toying around with her, since she helps you ramp by playing more lands. She's just been very interesting, to say the least, especially with a lot of the other cards that she interacts with, such as Nissa, especially when you get her emblem off. If you're out cards out of your hand and you haven't played any lands your turn and you have a Mina and Den, you can just start bouncing some lands and replaying them, and then her emblem goes off, you're drawing cards. So you get this really interesting late game draw engine token generation thing with Omnath, and it's very interesting. Of course, this is new in there just for additional ramping, and the life gain is also helpful. As you can see, we're not playing that many non-basics around here, so Game Trail and Aether Hub are just really good at mana fixing. Game Trail is kind of okay. I've been thinking about going to either Cinderglade to try that out, but I don't know. It's been fine. But yeah, so getting Omnath out and making a bunch of tokens. There's actually been cases where I've had this these two out with this out, being able to drop 3 lands. If it's just like, alright, bounce a land back up, give this thing trample, give this thing trample, draw a bunch of cards from this as emblem, make a bunch of tokens for defense. It's just very, very interesting. I'd love to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on it because it's been really, really fun. Of course, why would you play a ramp deck that doesn't have a really good payoff card such as Walking Ballista, the pretty much a lot of people's bane of existence in Standard right now? Perfect thing to sink your mana into in a ramp deck, in my opinion. It keeps the copycat combo from going off. It machine guns creatures, and it can be a big threat easily. And of course, if you somehow get Delirium online, you can go fetch it with Traverse the Moving Wall. Never really had that situation come up, but through my initial testing, I used to run this deck. I'll actually show you the other variant that got me started on this whole trend, which is kind of interesting. It was actually very interesting to play. And it's this one. So basically, as you see, it's not very different. Granted, there's more lands. But the axis that this was working on was getting lands into the graveyard through like Fork in the Road and Grapple with the Pass. Just try to get a lot of lands in the graveyard so you can get Omnath out. And then you go Splendid Reclamation to make a crap load of 5/5 tokens really, really fast. And then Shreds of Sanity is in there just to try to get it back in case that happens. But this has been a very interesting card that I've been trying out. And, being able to go get an instant and a sorcery from your graveyard has actually been interesting. And I kind of been just using like the Lightning Axe, Fiery Temper as the removal suite for this kind of deck. And then just kind of use the ramping of Mina and Den with Omnath and Nissa. And Get Rock Monster has been actually very interesting in the interaction of this. Because one, it lets you get more lands onto the battlefield. Not only that, you're making more tokens. And one thing that I thought was so interesting that I got myself into a game that I had to get Rog Monster out, I had Mina and Den out, I had the emblem from Nissa, and I had Omnath out. And then every turn I would always pay 3 to go get Drown Yard Temple back from the graveyard, get it back on the battlefield, make a token, draw a card, sack it to this, and it was like every turn I was making a 5/5, drawing an additional card, which I was actually drawing a total of 3 cards a turn at that point between these two, and making a token every turn. Like, it was really, really crazy. Some games got really crazy. The only thing is, it's really, really weak against aggro. It's just horribly bad against aggro. Because your removal suites don't really line up that well. And if you know anything about X-Mage, if you give the computer like a top deck such as like Mardu Vehicles, which I thought would have no issue playing, which it kind of doesn't, but really does. If the computer can beat you with the Mardu Vehicles list and how dumb of a block of rocks it is, maybe your deck idea is not that great. So I really kind of pushed off from using Get Rock Monster and then moved on to just a regular red-green ramp style deck that was a lot more fun, in my opinion. It is fun. People don't really expect ramp to actually be a viable deck option in the standard format right now. So if you actually like how this is going, definitely let me know down in the comments and we can talk about it. Just kind of give you an idea of what I've been tinkering around in the sideboard. Release the Gremlins, of course, great against Mardu Vehicles matchups, so is Natural Obsolescence. Warping Well is another thing that I can also bring in against the Copycat combo, just because the first modal ability, saying exile target creature with the power or toughness 1 or less, really takes care of the whole Feldar Guardian, and it's not like a restricted spell such as like Fatal Push. So that's something I've been trying out. It's actually been kind of helpful. Another Tireless Tracker, just in case if you need more card advantage and a good threat. Chandra has actually been really interesting as a good ramp spell is in the 4-drop slot. Another Gear per Ore if I wanted to, just for more landfall triggers. And then Goblin Dark Dwellers is a good thing that can help you with the ramp, because then you can replay your ramp spells for free. It also allows, you can play Natural Connection, you can use Harness Lightning again, you can also use Rune in their Wake, Attune with Aether, Traverse the Ubenwald. Something I've been trying out, it's been okay. I've been kind of enjoying it. But Mirror Wing Dragon's also been really, really good. Mostly just because a lot of the times this thing just has a built-in, you kill me, I kill all your stuff first. Your opponent targets it with like unlicensed disintegration, they're going to target all their stuff with their unlicensed disintegration. And like if they have like a bunch of scrap heat scroungers and stuff out there, this thing just goes, oh yeah, you want to hit me with unlicensed disintegration? Well, all your scrap heat scroungers are going to die first. So all of their artifact stuff, if they don't have a Heart of Quran out and they just have like scrap heat scroungers out, are all going to go away first, and they're all going to take the damage from that. But when this finally dies, they're not going to have any artifacts, so you don't take any damage from that. So to me, that's like an amazing trade-off, and it's really an interesting sleeper card that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about. And of course, why not play in a ramp deck if you're going to get a lot of mana that fast? So, something that's it's been a sleeper card, and people, I can certainly tell you, Mardu and Copycat have been having major headaches that I've played against this every now and then. So give this a try for playing in red. I honestly like playing this because it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's like a trolley card. So definitely my recommendation is give this a try out. But yeah, so that's pretty much my ramp deck idea I've been trying around. I've been having a lot of fun because of the grind value that you can get in the late game that this represents between these two, this emblem, and Omnath making just a bunch of tokens. It's just hilarious in my book. So the other deck idea I actually wanted to let you guys know that I've been working on was an old deck that I started playing with when I got back into Magic, was the Black-Green Aristocrats list. This is what it looks like right now, and it's been very interesting. The new addition will be Lifecrafters Bestiary, just as a replacement for Collected Company, since it's not here anymore. Honestly though, I think I need to change out the Matter Reshapers and bring in the Primal Druids, the 2/2/0/3, or the 2-mana 0/3 that whenever it dies it makes you go get a land and put it onto the battlefield. I think that'll probably be pretty good. We'll bring the 2-drop higher. But yeah, so as you can see, Lone Dryad, Blister Pod, Carrier Thrall, Cryptolith Right, Dustwatch Recruiter, Zulaport Cutthroat, Yoheni Undying Partisan. Very, very interesting with this card because give it indestructible, it kills something, gets bigger. Surprisingly enough, this thing can get really big really fast in this deck. Matter Reshaper, of course, when it dies, reveal the top card of the library. If it's a permanent card with 3 or less, which if you notice, all of the cards are permanent cards that are 3 or less, it will hit the battlefield. So this is always a guaranteed you're going to hit something good. So it's something that I've actually been kind of thinking, maybe I can go down one of these and, maybe one of these. I don't know. I've been, got to tinker around with the numbers here. But, of course, you got Westville Abbeys that turn into Omerdal, the Profane Prince, which is a great finisher for this deck. And of course, with all the drain triggers that you get is great. Hissing Quagmire, Blooming Marsh, Evolving Wilds to help you with the mana fixing and be able to get the singleton waste when you need to, because the only thing that requires colorless mana is that. However, between Blister Pod, Carrier Thrall, and Catacomb Sifter, you are making an efficient amount of colorless sources. So don't ever think that this is always going to be a dead draw. And in the sideboard, of course, Fatal Push is just hilarious in this deck. It's like the best removal card for this deck because you can always sack a creature that you block and then kill that creature that it blocked with Fatal Push and get yourself really far ahead. Of course, get all the triggers, all the drain triggers, and then you get this triggered. It just really, really crazy synergy going on here. Of course, Natural Obsolescence is for the matchup. This is for control matchups and the combo matchup. Again, another control matchup, and it's good in control match. Pretty much these whole cards right here, like all of the Transgress and Tireless Tracker, all of these cards are all just for the control matchup, and this is all for the aggro matchups that you have problems with. Never really had a huge problem with Planeswalkers because this deck doesn't really have any. It does have problems with Planeswalkers, but you're trying to just drain your opponent out as fast as you can anyway, so I don't think that's going to be a huge problem. As you can tell, this deck is weak to flying creatures, which is a huge problem. I will certainly agree, it is a huge problem, but as long as your Fatal Pushes can take him down, I don't think it'll be an issue. Avacyn will be a massive issue for you, though. Again, yes, sweepers do hurt, especially Yahenni's Expertise is a good way. But Lifecaster Bestiary has actually been relatively good, being able to just play a creature, draw a card, play a creature, draw a card, and the acceleration from Cryptolith is just insanity. So that's just one of the deck ideas I've been kind of toying around with. It's been really fun. So I definitely want to get your guys' thoughts on this one. If you guys have any more questions on this one, I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. But yeah, so the last deck I guess I can show you guys for the day. It's a pretty interesting one. Oh, here it is. So notice Eldrazi has not been seeing a whole lot of love in this current meta, and I was just like, you know what can be really good for a type of setup for a Eldrazi deck. So the first thing that came to mind is like, well, Scrappy Scrounger is a great colorless creature. Metallic Mimic is a great colorless creature, and it's a perfect Eldrazi Mimic replacement because it actually does something more to the deck than Eldrazi Mimic. Matter Reshaper, Eternal Scourge, great synergy with Scrappy Scrounger. Yeah, it's anything that targets it just makes it exile itself, so it's really easy to get rid of. But it just keeps coming back. So you got this whole huge recursive package right here. Of course, it's playing Heart of Quran because again, it's just really, really good. And then you got your top ends of Thought-Knot Seer, Reality Smasher, and then Decimator of the Provinces is just something I've been trying out because I thought it'd be hilarious that you just get a bunch of your Eldrazi's out there that are already huge, and then have this as this giant finisher that just trample, haste, and smash your opponent. Of course, you got Fatal Push as your removal. Attune with Aether and Ruin in their wake is just a good ramp to get to like 3 or 4 mana really fast and be able to deploy your Thought-Knot Seer turn 3s and all that stuff, or like two 2/2 really, really well. Granted, these aren't Eldrazi's, but this named on Eldrazi makes this a 4/4, a 4/3, a 5/5, a 6/6, an 8/8. Just with one, but with multiples, which I've actually been able to get a lot of multiples out really, really fast through the ramp packaging. These things come out and they're just massively huge, and it just outclasses everything. Of course, if you look at the sideboard, as I kind of left it the way it is, more Fatal Pushes for more removal. Again, this is concession to the Copycat combo. Again, Copycat combo and just Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers do pose a problem, and this is pretty much the only way so far I've figured out how to deal with them. So that's one of the deck ideas I've been trying. It's been kind of fun, because people will block this will die, they'll kill this, and then I can just exile this through this ability and then cast this and just have 6 power back on the board easily. Love this interaction. I remember when this was first spoiled that people were talking about the interaction between these two, but you can't necessarily kill it, but a lot of people make you sacrifice things, and this will cause you to sacrifice it. If anything causes you to sacrifice anything, sacrifice this, because you will have this in the graveyard more often than not. So yeah, those are all the deck ideas I've actually been trying out. I would love to get you guys' thoughts and opinions on them. I think some of these actually have legs, like the red-green ramp deck actually has some pretty good legs. So if you have any questions or concerns, again, leave them down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get back to you guys on them. If you actually have any other suggestions about what I should try out, I would definitely love to get your guys' thoughts and opinions on it. These are just some things I've been trying around because everyone just keeps talking about the top 2 decks, and it's like, why is no one trying anything out? Like, just see what's in the format and just see, as much as people would tell you it's not going to work, it's not going to work, how can you know it's not going to work if you don't even give it a try? So that's pretty much it for my video for today. So definitely leave anything down in the comments below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to get any more videos, and I'll definitely see you guys in the next one.